This ain't what I wanted. I love all you kids. You know.
And we're live?
Are we?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, Mad Libs community.
Hey, YouTube. You're just so good at it. You're a real inspiration when it comes to winking. I hope you know that.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Oh, what a day.
Yeah, I will say this. For me,
Say it.
it has had its ups and downs.
Yeah, it's like a roller coaster. Or a mountain.
And I'm going to start off with the real exciting positive part. Do you know that we are on some people's top 5 most listened to podcasts?
Love it.
So at the end of the year,
know.
at the end of the year,
Uh-huh.
Spotify does this thing called Wrapped, and basically they send out to every single user, which I think is a really good project for them to continue to like keep people using their product instead of something else. But this idea of Wrapped, and what it does is it gives you a summary of like your year in listening. And so
How do I do this?
if you go to Spotify,
Going to Spotify now.
it should pop up. I don't know if it's very good on the phone, but like on the desktop, it just popped right up. But anyways,
Yeah, to be honest with you, I don't even know my Spotify login. Oh, your 2021 Wrapped is here. Oh, it's telling me things.
so we're watching Kevin unwrap his 2021,
Yeah.
and so Spotify does this, and it does like your most listened to music, your most listened to artists. It also does your most listened to podcasts. And there were several
Interesting.
people. I posted on Facebook, and I was like, "Hey, how many of you have the Mad Libs podcast as in your top 5 at least?"
Ah, Mad Libs is there.
For you?
You spent 11,387 minutes listening.
Dude, I saw
listen to a
people
lot of
reporting like
podcasts.
76,000.
Oh,
like, that kind of
okay.
stuff. So 11,000 isn't bad.
Oh, yeah, I did listen to this a lot. I got something for like the Kid Leroy and NF. I like NF a lot too.
Okay.
Okay, I get it. I fucking listen to that a lot.
Are you calling someone?
No. Oh, yeah. I love Bon Iver.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
if I really need to calm down.
I know. I love hearing like Bon Iver, and I'm like, "Hey, who's that Bon Iver guy?"
See, but the funny thing is like, I listen to most of my music on Apple,
Yeah.
and I listen to just podcasts. The Joe Rogan Experience is my number 1 podcast.
That's fair.
But I think that's probably because, like, yeah,
Mine was Armchair Expert.
really.
Yeah.
Ooh, it says I found a lot of love this year. It's true. I
That's
found
why you got a
Brian.
baby on the way.
Oh, a lot of Coheed and Cambria. Oh, and the Flowbots were in my top 5.
Okay, so here's the thing: hearing multiple people come out of the woodworks and say, "Hey, Mad Libs was in my top 5,"
Yeah,
it makes me feel like we're doing something right.
they showed up on my little thing.
Yeah, it makes me feel like we're doing something right, and that excites me.
It's very exciting. It really is.
But
But
when I was feeling up here, okay,
go on.
I no longer was excited because I'm like, listen, I would love for this podcast to get absolutely huge and us to make a living off of it.
Certainly.
I'm more excited about people listening and having the conversation, and I'm getting frustrated that we're not listened to more because it means not enough people are having the conversation, because I don't think people listen to any political talk show or podcast enough. And that's the thing that
I don't
frustrates me.
disagree with you.
Like the news today.
Don't get too far into it because we haven't started the actual
I know.
podcast.
No, and we're going to have to recap this a little bit
That's
for
fine.
the actual podcast.
Yeah.
But the news for me today was just so daunting between, I think it was, yesterday's shooting in the Michigan high school, in
Yeah.
Oxford High School.
Yeah.
What's going on in the Supreme Court.
Mm-hmm.
And, we were going to do a rapid fire. We talked Monday about what we were going to do Wednesday tonight, and it was like, oh, rapid fire. I know we were gonna like talk about like Biden opening up the oil reserves while Canada's opening up the maple reserves. Like, I was like excited to have that kind of conversation.
Yeah. Can I? No, you go ahead and tell us.
No. I was just gonna say, and now I'm like, I am very, very, very frustrated with the apathy that is going on in this country.
Yeah. I'm a little frustrated with Joe Biden. I don't know how I didn't bring this up sooner. But like, and it's not just him. I'm not picking on him. I'm pointing him out because he's
the president.
Well, he's the president currently.
Okay.
Spent his fucking Thanksgiving with the founder of the Carlyle Group.
Okay.
That bothers me. They have shit that they're trying to press through for like regulations and stuff right now.
Okay.
And I think that's basically fucking and all the fucking presidents do it. I get it. Oh, I'm getting a phone call. Hold on 1 second. It's from work. Hey, everything okay? Yeah, that's either the side door on the first floor or that is the mezzanine patio. But I believe it's the side door on the first floor. No problem. Bye-bye. Sorry. The alarm was going off at the restaurant.
No, you're good.
You know, duty calls and whatnot. But okay.
Duty.
But like you're talking about you're talking about a multi-billion-dollar company.
Yeah.
And like it's one thing if you're a private citizen and you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to the fucking billionaire's Nantucket mansion for Thanksgiving, and we're gonna talk business and probably make some deals. But like, and I'm not saying that that's what Joe Biden was doing, but like, it's just a little shady to do that. I think that I was disappointed in him.
Okay.
And I don't know. I mean, I don't know why I was surprised. It's just like, you know, he's a career politician. That's what career politicians do.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it really saddened me.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
I don't really give a shit though about that because like I think the abortion case in the Supreme Court, shootings, a lot of the other things that are happening right now upset me more than Joe Biden's Thanksgiving dinner. I think
it's not the dinner itself. It's like who it was with.
Sure.
And I'm not saying that I'm more upset about that than I'm upset about other things. I'm just saving that for the podcast since we're not talking about Joe Biden's Thanksgiving in the podcast.
Why not?
We could, but I just
You can.
Brian, I love you.
You always can.
I don't know why you're not more pissed off about that. I know you're pissed off about other things, but like
yeah, I'm pissed off about things that actually like
that matters. That matters. That sets a precedent.
Why does that matter?
What do you mean? Why does that matter? That's shady, underhand dealing shit going on, probably, man. Oh, by the way, I listened back to our Cuomo episode.
Yeah.
And I told you.
What?
I told you there was going to be more.
Oh, I know. I figured as much. I just said we can't go.
Brian, just say you told me so.
To what we don't know.
Just say you told me so, Brian.
I would never say I told you so.
No, say you told me so, Kevin.
No.
Please.
I believed. Yeah, I figured Chris Cuomo had done more. It's just we can't assume.
I was sitting there last night putting my kids to bed. I'm like, I'm going to re-listen to that episode. I'm pretty sure I said something.
Yeah, who's the one that brought that up to you? Me.
What? Cuomo?
Yeah.
Chris Cuomo?
Yeah. That there were findings. Like.
Yeah. Well, no. You brought that up to me for this episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying when we did our previous episode.
Oh, yeah. No, that was just top of the news. I'm saying most recently, so the New York Times exposed the fact that, you know, through investigations, they've found that
he was way more
involved. And it wasn't like so early on, CNN was told by Cuomo and, you know, whatever representation he had, that it was more like, oh, this is just a family thing. You know, I'll step back and not, you know, be involved. You know, I gave him some brotherly advice, but then it was like, no, there was efforts to control like all of the media spin on it by Cuomo, and CNN did the right thing. They suspended him indefinitely, and basically he'll probably get fired.
He's not coming back. Yeah,
no, he'll get fired, and he should. He should, and he'll land somewhere. I don't know. Start his own YouTube channel. Get a bunch of people.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think he'll do like a podcast or something. Nah, he needs his face to be seen. He'll do a fucking YouTube podcast. Yeah.
Is that why we're doing a YouTube podcast? We need our face to be seen.
That's not why we're doing it. We're doing it because you know what, Brian? Everybody needs to contribute a little bit to this world.
Yeah. Fair.
And, yeah. Holy shit, the Carlyle Group has $293 billion in assets, spanning 3 businesses and 433 investments. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not...
They were big deal brokers in the Iraq War.
Yeah, I mean, they're not that big.
Yeah, well,
They're not BlackRock.
that's true.
Oh, man.
I don't know.
Do you know BlackRock invested in AMC?
No.
Yeah, right before the huge pop. So, like, when it was at, like,
Fucking
$16,
Yeah.
and then they're like, that's why I regret leaving it.
I didn't. Yeah.
I know you didn't. And
I sold
so
off
I later found out that
Yeah.
BlackRock was invested. It's like, I knew I should have
Yeah.
stayed with them. They know what they're doing.
I dropped out some of mine at $36, and then a bunch of mine at $60 some odd.
Yeah. Yeah, when it hit that huge.
But I wasn't even holding the line. I was just being lazy.
Fair enough.
Brian's like, cash out, Kev. It's at $16, and I was like, I'll get to it later. And then like one morning, I woke up and I just looked at the stock and I was like, what the fuck? Actually, I was thinking I was hopping out of the shower. I was naked when I called you.
I love
How do you
to
feel
hear
about that?
I wish you would have FaceTimed me. Fucker just called me? That's FaceTime worthy.
Yeah. I need to laugh right now.
Yeah. So,
I'm gonna buy stock in the Carlyle Group right now.
it's not a bad idea.
Yeah, obviously some shit's gonna go down.
I don't necessarily think that's the case. I mean, here's the thing. He does Thanksgiving on Nantucket like every year. Him and his family. So, I mean, I wouldn't read too much into it, but
I'm reading all into
and that's
it, Brian.
fine.
I'm reading so hard right now, like I haven't read
That's
before.
absolutely fine. I think
I'm bummed out about a lot of things in politics. We're gonna get into it. It's gonna be real fun. Not, I mean, it's fun because I'm with you.
I mean, here's the thing. I know it can be.
What is the thing, Brian?
It can be a drain, right? And so I was actually. You know what? We should just get podcasting. Let's just get podcasting.
Should we get
YouTube,
podcasting? I gotta fix the fucking thing. It's way more on you.
Oh, get
Or it's way more on me. I mean,
no.
Yeah.
It's fine.
No,
Here,
it's
I'll
not.
just come closer.
Oh my god, this is really nice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna purposely point the camera way this way every time now.
Yeah. There you go. Now we're close.
Isn't it nice having wheels on your chairs?
Dude, did you know the Washington Post slogan is "Democracy dies in darkness"? That's a fucking cool slogan.
Washington Post is owned by Bezos, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dirty dog. Yeah, you know where he picked that up? The millionaires have a fucking summer camp. Did you know that? Or billionaires, they have a summer camp, Brian. Are you aware of this shit?
I
And
don't
they
think
get
there should
together.
be billionaires, okay?
Yeah. Millionaires is fine.
Millionaires, 100 millionaires.
Whatever. If you're a billionaire, you're a billionaire. But like, just
Okay, maybe like the highest that anyone should be. Actually, no, there
Yeah.
should be no billionaires. But fine, it's a rigged system. You won. Okay, you get $10 billion.
20.
No, because it should be taxed at 98% at that point.
And that's fine, but you can
Do you
still
know,
make money
think
that
about
way.
that.
Yeah.
If you were taxed at 98% of $2 billion, anything over that, you'd still be making about you would make that $2 million, right? So if you made another billion over 10, you would still make $2 million more, which is more than what most Americans will ever make in their life. Even getting taxed at 98%. Anything over $10 billion, taxed at 98%. Do you think they would just be like, well, no, the $2 million isn't worth it? No, they'd still fucking go get the $2 million.
Yeah.
And then 998. No, you know what? It's fine. It's fine.
Podcast time.
Let's do it.
Let's fucking do it.
Let's break out. Come on,
And we are live.
We're live.
It's happening.
Always.
And forever.
And on YouTube.
And in Brian's Garage Studios.
Yeah.
In the beautiful, wintry West Dundee, Illinois.
Now let me ask you, Kevin.
Ask me, Brian.
When you listen to podcasts, do you listen on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Google Casts? What do you listen
I listen
to?
on Spotify.
You listen on Spotify?
Yeah.
Well, it was really exciting to hear. I had Jason, his brother Justin,
Nice.
and a guy named Ben
Way to go, Ben.
all say that we were in their top 5. So
And
my
I love
question
to
to the
hear.
rest of the Mad Libs community.
Is what the fuck?
No.
Just
No.
I'm just kidding.
The rest of the Mad Libs community, if you're listening on Spotify, did we
Yeah.
make your 2021
Yeah.
Wrapped
We
top
wanna
5
know. We
podcasts?
wanna
We want to
know.
know.
We
And if
need
we
to know.
have, I'm going to give you a high five
Yeah.
and a wink.
Ow! You just smashed my hand in my head.
Hulk smash.
Brian's all fired up.
I am fired up. And so I was jacked.
Yeah.
Jacked to the tits.
I'm turning your microphone down.
About being in people's top 5
Yeah.
most listened to podcasts.
Jacked.
But I will say this.
Say it.
I feel, and this has nothing to do with money or whatever, or saying like we're the best ever. I think we have a lot of potential. We have a lot of room to grow. But I will say this. I wanted to be in more people's top 5, meaning that they listen to something about the news or politics.
That's
Because
important to us, yeah.
this is getting to be a point again
Mm-hmm.
where, similar to 2016, when there was a lot of apathy and a lot of frustration and like, oh, politics sucks, the news sucks, it doesn't make me happy, so I don't want to learn about it.
Right.
We're getting to that point again, and I think a lot of it has to do with the pandemic. I think a lot of it has to do with, the current gridlock in Congress, the 50-50 split, and everyone's jockeying for position. It took how goddamn long to pass an infrastructure bill? I think it has a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
But I think it just has to do with people's general sentiment towards the news, and it's absolutely unacceptable. I'm saying it right now. I'm not going to be politically correct here and say, well, everyone is entitled to their own opinions and their own beliefs and their own whatever makes them happy. They should just no. You know what? We have a civic responsibility to be aware of what the fuck is going on in our government. Whether it's what you believe in the Republicans or the Democrats or whatever, the Supreme Court, there's a lot going on in this country. And anyone listening, and for those not listening, you have an impact on it. You have the right to vote. Your voice can be heard. And you need to be educated before you're going into those polling booths. You absolutely have a responsibility. It's not about whether you like it or not. You have a responsibility for yourself and your posterity. You have a responsibility to make sure that this country is headed in the right direction. And we can sit back and we can blame politicians and political parties and PACs and corporate donations and all of that shit. But when push comes to shove, whose responsibility is it? It's yours. It's mine. It's anyone listening or not listening, but is of the legal voting age and has the right to vote. It is our responsibility to direct this country by putting the people we trust and believe in a position of power. And if those people aren't doing their job, you vote them out. And if there's still no candidate, God damn it, go run yourself. Make the change. Be the change you want to see in the world. And I was sitting in my kitchen, Kevin. I'm sorry, I'm going on a rant just to start off the friggin' podcast, but I was sitting in my kitchen and I talked to my wife about what was going on in the Supreme Court today.
Uh-huh.
And she's like, well, how does this happen? I'm like, what do you mean? They can't just do. I was like, this happens all the time and people don't realize what's going on. They don't give a shit.
Until it's too late.
Until it's too late. And that's why I constantly, and I apologize to the Mad Libs community, I badger
Never
people.
apologize.
I badger people. Have the conversation.
Do it.
You have to have that conversation because some people are unwilling to, but I'll be damned if you don't realize there are other people listening,
That's right.
whether it's on Facebook or at a family gathering.
Mm-hmm.
Just because people aren't in the conversation doesn't mean there aren't people learning from the conversation.
Agreed.
So I don't
feel
know.
like
There's a lot to go over, but I want to
you're
give you a
fine.
chance to talk. here,
No,
'cause
I'm just gonna be your hype man
hoarding.
today.
I'm
I'm
hoarding.
gonna be your hype man today. I'm like the guy that comes with all the rappers and all there is, yeah, woo. And then every once in a while, like I'll try to figure out the next word you're gonna say, and like I'll say it too as you're saying. You're gonna be like lead, and I'll like with empathy.
That's a good. I like that. I like that.
That's you. No, there's
Do good. Be great. Oh, that was
See,
good.
we're good.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
good.
yeah.
We're good at this. Yeah. Hey, you know what? I know there is a time and place, Brian, and sometimes I get to talk a lot, but most of the time I'm just here to keep you in check, piss you off.
If I'm not ranting, poke me till I start.
I mean, I make you look good. If anybody's watching on YouTube right now, they'll know.
yeah.
They will know. They'll be like, Kevin's okay. Makes Brian look better.
That is not the case.
That is the case.
That is.
Look
I
at
guess
you.
people will
Is
just
that
have,
North Face
I
you're
guess,
wearing,
I guess
Brian?
people will just have to tune into the
Tune
YouTube
in
to
on
actually see it.
YouTube. God, golly gee. It's very easy to get frustrated with politics.
Yeah.
The issue is this. You have no right to get you have every right to get frustrated, Brian, because you pay attention to what's going on in politics.
Yeah.
I get frustrated, but more so I get like depressed. My anxiety starts to kick in. I've got real bad anxiety. Even when I'm not on like 7 energy drinks, which I'm not today. P.S. I'm trying to cut back.
You do a good job of managing that anxiety.
Thanks, dog. Appreciate
because
that.
you don't. Same thing with your introversion. Like you don't really seem that way.
That's kind of you to say.
Yeah.
I'm an introverted extrovert.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing. But anyways, you only have a right to get upset about politics if you're paying attention and doing your part. If we could just get everyone to even give fucking 25% more effort. Oh, I'm not supposed to swear. Anna yelled at me.
Really?
Yeah, she said I was really bad on the last one. And I said, honey, I'm always really bad. But Brian's there to pick
You know
me
what?
back up
You know
again.
what? I think she needs to discipline you.
Yeah. Honey, I'm not even going to say that. I'm not even going to say that right now.
She is probably squirming right now. As soon as I said that, she's like doing her work, listening to
she's
podcasts.
like, please,
"Oh,
Kevin,
my
don't
husband-
say anything.
My husband is just such a great voice, and
But he's got such a
he just
naughty,
swore.
he's got
he
a
just
naughty
swore-
mouth.
He just swore. Oh my god!
I'm going to be hearing myself say this tomorrow.
And then bam, Brian starts saying that she should discipline him, and she's just gonna be like, "Ooh, why would he say that?"
Yeah, okay, don't swear. Back on track here.
Yeah.
If everyone could just give 25% more effort to learning about what's going on in government, we'd automatically be in a better place. Not only that, if people gave 25% more effort, it would snowball. Because you're like, wait, what's going on? We're drone striking who? It takes how long to get a fucking infrastructure plan down? Whose fault is that? Who did I vote for? Why did I vote for them?
Yeah.
Well, because they're probably in agreement with your party. And here's my quick rant. Mine's not going to be as long, and I'll stay nice and calm for this. I'm very upset with the way the politics are right now, and I'm not trying to beat a dead horse. Sorry to all you dead horses out there.
Beat the horse and the elephant.
But elephants,
Yeah, I guess it's not the horse. It's technically a jackass. Donkey.
that's a donkey. Yeah.
That's what
I get what you did. Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah.
I see what you did there. I'm sorry, dude. It's been a long day for me today. I apologize. I'm not as quick-witted today.
No, you're good. All right, so
So what I'm saying is, I have to stop saying that. That's what I say. I said what I'm saying is, you see, here's what I mean.
so here's the thing.
So here's the thing. Let me drop a knowledge bomb on you, like Biden dropped knowledge real bombs on Syria. Fair. Well, probably while he was eating a fucking fancy meal in Nantucket.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they make those teas, those iced teas. They come in a bottle. Or no, they make juices. It's juices. What frustrates me is...
Wait,
and
are you
this is-
talking about the Nantucket Nectars?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Thanks
All
for
right.
picking that up,
Yeah.
Bri.
All right.
Now everyone knows. They're only like 10% juice. And anyways... What's frustrating to me is everything, and whether this is Donald Trump's fault or whether this is Barack Obama's fault or whether this has nothing to do with any of the presidents, we are so divided as a nation politically, and we've allowed that division to cause so many issues. Everybody votes on party lines now. We've lost that beautiful in between of people that they don't really know what political party they belong to. They vote based on whether or not they like an individual. Mm-hmm. And we've allowed some really, and we're going to talk about some of these crazy people that have been voted into office. And we're going to talk about Lauren Boebert tonight.
God.
And she's a prime example. Her, and then who's the other crazy?
Marjorie Taylor
Greene. God damn it. How these people get into place is because we've started playing identity politics. We've started playing with, well, that's the Republican candidate and that's who I'm voting for. Or they're just saying the right things. Oh, I'm not going to shut down for COVID. Oh, I own a restaurant and we let you carry guns into the restaurant. Well, I'm not going to that restaurant, Miss Boebert. Especially after you spent $22,000 of your freaking political campaign money on it. Breaking the law. Jerk face. I almost said the B word.
Yeah.
But I hate the fact that we let ourselves do this. And we see it all the time, mostly on your Facebook page, because you love to stir shit up and you don't really mean to. What you're trying to do is start a conversation, but really it's like you might as well get a fucking bigger, spoon to stir the pot with there, Bri. But it's just so absurd, and everyone just repeats the same talking points over and over again, and it's so silly because like you know exactly where they got that talking point.
Yeah,
everyone repeats the same freaking thing, and it's just because everyone goes to the same sources over and over again, despite how many times they've had to make corrections or despite how many times they've gotten in trouble for saying for whatever reason. It's very frustrating to me, and more so, beyond it being frustrating, it's very saddening for me. It hurts my little heart to see the nation so divided.
Yeah.
When it doesn't really, dude, if we sat down individually with 1,000 people, mm-hmm. Republicans, Democrats, centrists, libertarians, anarchists, I don't fucking know. Sorry, honey, this is not going to be the podcast where I don't swear, apparently. But I would bet you we could have a civil conversation and come to some really beautiful common grounds and agree on a lot of things.
Yeah.
You could sit down with a hardcore Republican and probably get them to agree on some sort of some form of universal health care.
Sure.
All you got to do is, all right, well, let's talk about this. How can we, you know what I mean? I got to stop saying you know what I mean. It's a Midwestern thing. People agree with each other more than we give them credit for. It's just that everyone's afraid to go against the party that they align themselves with.
So I think people are more agreeable, but I don't think they necessarily agree. I think when people sit down and have a face-to-face conversation, they'll be agreeable.
Oh, because they're like little bitches.
Well, and
nobody wants a confrontation. Is that what you're saying?
I really feel that way. I feel that.
Okay. I see what you're saying. I think you're probably right.
I think, people will say one
Sadly.
thing and then go vote another way or do whatever they want anyways. And I think the craziest part about it all is that we're really, and you pointed it out earlier. You were going to finish my sentence. But we don't lead with empathy. Nice. We don't. We sit back and we think, okay, well, how does this impact me? And that's the frustrating thing here.
Yeah.
So going back to what you were kind of drawing in on here was with Boebert, right? So Representative Boebert decided to do a little stand-up skit and basically defamed Ilhan Omar.
It wasn't even funny.
No, it was awful. It was disgusting.
If it was edgy and a little silly, maybe I'd be like, But it was in such poor taste, if I may, Brian.
Yeah.
May I explain the scenario?
Sure, feel free.
So she's on stage. She's talking to a bunch of her constituents.
Mm-hmm.
And she is telling a story about how she hopped into an elevator and Ilhan Omar was there. And she said that she looked over at her and said, well, at least she's not carrying a backpack. I guess I'm safe.
Mm-hmm.
Insinuating that she was going
And called
to...
her the Jihad Squad.
Yeah. Like, not even that's funny.
No.
I can laugh. I will laugh if you make fun of the squad. I will, as long as it's in good taste. You could be edgy with it. Like I heard a joke the other day about AOC.
Okay.
And it was funny because it was poking a little bit of fun at the fact that she was Puerto Rican.
Okay.
And it was just and he's a comedian. He's out there and he took a lot of heat for this. He said if he were in Joe Biden's shoes, he would make AOC the head of the CIA. And then he made a joke saying like, because like it was either like
he has a Puerto Rican girlfriend, and when she goes through his phone, she finds everything.
Yeah. Because he said like Puerto Rican chicks will find out anything.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Okay, because I don't think AOC would take offense to that. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And he's also a stand-up comedian. Like,
yeah.
His sole purpose is to do that.
Like that's edgy.
Right.
But it's funny.
Boebert is not a stand-up comedian. She also not only did this when she was on stage, they also found other footage of when she was at a Republican fundraiser.
Yeah.
Saying the same material.
Yeah.
And of course, it got a lot of laughs, a lot of excitement when she called them the Jihad Squad and made the insinuation that Ilhan Omar... And then, of course, Donald Trump came out to her defense saying that Ilhan Omar married her brother and is a threat to this country and she should go back to her country.
She's Somalian, is she not?
I believe so.
I want to say she's Somalian.
Yeah. So
neither here nor there.
But he made that statement on his website.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah.
And listen, I don't like Ilhan Omar. And I do think that she is somewhat anti-Semitic. I think she has her cultural beliefs. Okay, that's fine. I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but I would never go out and say something like she's a freaking like a terrorist suicide bomber.
Right.
Like that's just out of bounds. A person like her, I think you give her enough rope, she hangs herself with it. You know what I mean? Maybe that's not a good analogy.
I understand what you're saying.
But like, yeah, you know what I mean? You let her cause her own troubles.
Right.
And I think one day maybe she will. Maybe she will slip up and say the wrong thing.
she's had some slip ups.
Oh, she's had a lot. Well, a few.
Yeah.
That I can come. I was gonna say a lot, but I mean,
yeah.
I guess it depends on your definition of a lot.
Right, a lot. Ever since 2016, a lot is a very, very large number.
Yeah, like probably 20, 30 times
a day.
But
depended how.
But I would never say something like that. You can push the envelope without just being. I'm gonna call that prejudice.
Okay.
I think it was a very...
Oh, Boebert? Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was absolutely prejudice.
Yeah. And like, yeah, so, okay, maybe Ilhan Omar is... Well, not okay, like it's not okay, but she's made some remarks about Israel and about the Israeli people that were not cool. But like, two wrongs don't make a right.
Well, no, I mean, I think... Ilhan Omar making comments about Israel, perhaps she overstepped, but in general, I understand the sentiment being a Muslim and how Israel has treated the Muslims throughout the past. And
it's wrong.
And we had our Israel-Palestine
conversation
and if you want to tune back into
we kind of had it twice.
Yeah, we've had those conversations, and I think she might have overstepped.
Yeah.
But I don't think like she's anywhere near as flagrant as something like anything Marjorie Taylor Greene has said or Boebert.
And why is she not on more thin ice? So I had mentioned earlier about her spending $22,000 of campaign funds on bailing out her restaurant. Did you hear about this?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know. Every once in a while I try to find something out that you don't know.
Yeah.
But she had
also
nothing
stuff
gets
about
past,
her husband too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing gets past you, Brian. I don't even know why I try.
You always should try. Keep me on my toes. The educational lesson you had last episode. I felt.
Nah, I rushed it a little bit, but that's okay. I don't care.
No, I thought it was great.
I do care, but I can learn from it.
I learned from it.
I learn from you every day, baby.
Keep talking.
I texted Brian the other day before the podcast on Monday night, and I said, Brian, should I get some propane for the propane heater? He goes, no, it's not that cold. I said, well, if I get chilly, I'll just snuggle you.
I'm a furnace.
That's what friendship's all about. Boebert, yeah. What about that? And I didn't know about her restaurant until like I heard that, and then I looked it up, and it's like she encourages open carry in her restaurant.
Yeah.
And like, if we change the way that gun laws are, or not even gun laws, but if we change the restrictions, if we restructure things, make it more strict and more stringent. You should listen to our, now that we're just mentioning all the podcast episodes that we've had. If you go back and listen on our Second Amendment
It's like
episode,
the montage episodes of
Yeah.
the TV show.
you should really go back and listen to it. I thought it was a fantastic conversation. Unless people really are trained with their weapons, I wouldn't feel comfortable going into a restaurant where people have a bunch of guns. I'm like, I don't know how safe you are with that firearm. You could be like the guy from the what's his name? From the Rittenhouse trial, the prosecutor.
Yeah.
And have your finger on the trigger and point it at people. That's wrong for anybody who doesn't own a gun or know things about gun safety.
Yeah.
Just so you guys know. But yeah,
Yeah.
how is she getting away with it? Why is she not in more trouble?
Because, Kev, so really the trouble you're seeing is like, oh, she used political funds to help
It happens all the time.
put into her restaurant.
Happens all the time.
I mean, yeah. Look at
Donald Trump did it all the time.
Yeah, look at the GOP. Like, look at what they've done.
The gap.
And it's not all of them. And you know what? I'm going to continue to praise Adam Kinzinger. I'm going to continue to praise Liz Cheney. You know, I don't agree with her policy, but by God, has she stood up for him. But where's the rest of the character of the quote unquote, you know, the party of you know, values? Where is that?
Remember when they just used to be like fiscally conservative?
Yeah,
And
they
like-
used to be family values, family oriented,
Yeah.
business minded. Where are
Yeah.
they? Where's the free trade, you know, ideals here? No, they're too busy putting tariffs on other countries and slowly deteriorating our economy.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. So the idea with Boebert is like, okay, the GOP is okay with this violence.
They're okay with
We saw it with the January 6th. They're just a bunch of tourists. The same guy who brought that up, Representative Gosar, is the one that was putting up anime of him killing
the squad.
AOC.
Yeah.
Thankfully, he got censured and lost his committee positions.
Yeah.
Which, if you know a lot about politics, one of the things that's really important to a politician is the committees that they are a part of, because
Right.
they can then speak to as they get, go up for re-election.
Yeah,
Hey, I was a part of this.
this and that.
I'm moving this policy through. I need more time to get that policy through, whatever the case is.
Reelect me.
You can speak to something that you're doing. Now Gosar can't speak to anything because now he's going to speak to how he hates the squad and blah blah blah, and that will probably get him reelected.
That's what's fucked up. That will work.
It
That
will.
will work. And that is why, back to what Brian said, back to what I was saying earlier, if you just take 30 minutes a day, it's just like what they used to do in like elementary school, middle school. Like, go read for just 30 minutes a day, and you'll learn something. And that's
SSR.
so SSR, baby.
Silent sustained reading.
Yeah.
It's not the most effective practice.
It's not.
SSR.
But
In schools, it is now. I mean, you should be reading. And if not the news, at least read a good book. But, I mean, I totally agree with you. Like, there's just, and it's not even 30 minutes. Like, listen to our podcast. I said that and I regretted it because I was like, I'm not trying to self-promote. I'm trying to say, listen to the NY Daily. Listen to, the NPR or, like Kevin likes, Crystal and Sire. Like, there are podcasts out there besides the Mad Libs. I would really, really appreciate
if you listening to us
and
me too.
continuing to build this community, because I think the community is a strong one. I get people reaching out to us and I love that interaction when we do live streams. We're having more people jump in the chat here and there. These are all exciting things, but it's so incredibly important to have these conversations and to be knowledgeable before you go into a voting booth. And it's not just dumb tweets by someone. It's not just shitty anime retweets or whatever the hell happened. It's about what do people stand for and how are they representing you?
we're in such like a sorry Noelle and sorry Anna for saying this, but we're in such like a keeping up with the Kardashians and like who's dating who, and like that, to me, I could be way off base here, but to me that translates perfectly to politics right now. Everyone views politics the same way, like who said what, who's attacking who. That's not what the politics are about. It's like, what is that politician doing? Are they doing what I need them to do? You know, for whatever, you know what I mean? Say that you unfortunately live in Lauren Boebert's, district. I'm sorry for you. Like, what is she doing for you?
So the news,
Because I can tell you, like someone like Bernie Sanders.
Oh, he's
I'm gonna praise Bernie.
He's hustling.
That dude, he does not stop. He's like, here's what I'm gonna do for you guys. Here's how I'm gonna accomplish it. And even though he keeps on facing adversity, he keeps coming back. He keeps trying. He's been saying the same shit since 1970. Maybe even sooner. I'm sure he was saying that when he was a teenager. He was probably in high school being like, here's what I'm going to do for all my homies. Because that's how Bernie talks.
You know,
if I could just
digress.
If I could just shoot a gun with Bernie Sanders and have him say homie.
Not to digress too much, but I saw that one video of when he was first campaigning. I think it was 2016.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was 2016.
Yeah.
And he's campaigning. He's really feeling the momentum, feeling the burn, right?
E.
And did you see that one where the bird like flew down and then just landed right in, like on his podium right in front of him? Like birds don't want to be by people. They are scared of people, and it landed right in front of Bernie.
He probably had birdseed in his pocket.
He probably just he just smiled. He was like, "Whoa," you know. And I was just like, "Man, that could have been our president." Like, forget Donald Trump, forget Hillary. Like,
can you imagine what would have happened?
I really want there to be a female president one day. I don't want it to be Kamala. I'm glad, you know. I think Hillary would have been better than Donald Trump, but I just want I want that first female president to be our best president.
Yeah.
Because then it'll go down as like, oh man, we should have been doing this a long time ago.
A lot sooner.
So here nor there. Going back to Boebert and Gosar, there's a level of there's a lack of accountability. That's the big issue with the GOP for me. And when people are trying to hold others accountable, the GOP as a whole tries to ostracize them. So you had the 10 that voted to impeach Trump, and what was McCarthy doing? He was removing them from committee positions. And that's a big issue for me. I think McCarthy is one of the most evil people in the House of Representatives and in Congress. Okay? He is a finger puppet for Donald Trump. Okay? And McConnell will bend and waver to Donald Trump's bidding if it favors him. McCarthy is an absolute puppet. Okay? So this is something that was bothering me, is like this lack of accountability. But then we move to other things. So let's talk about something kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So we all know, listening to the Mad Libs podcast, everyone knows that, and we've talked about it in episodes prior. You are right. It's like one of those, it's a montage episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're calling back to all these things. But the president of the United States, I almost got into a big argument at a family party.
Nice.
But I withheld. I didn't want to have the conversation because I've had this conversation before. But the president does not control the price of gas. It is supply and demand and private companies. With that said, Joe Biden has tapped into our reserves.
Oh, he tapped that.
And what do you know? The gas prices are going down. Now, that is not a long-term solution. You can't keep going into our reserves. However, it did shove the market downwards. All of a sudden, the oil futures and stuff like that started going down. Like it started to taper off, and we started getting a better position. But it's never a president's fault, up or down, generally speaking. This is like the one lever he can pull to actually kind of have some control. Meanwhile, and more importantly than gasoline, Kevin, what do you put on your pancakes?
Peanut butter.
Cool.
Really, it's delicious. You should
I
try
know.
it.
I put peanut butter on my waffles, not my pancakes.
You're
That's
talking about maple
disgusting.
syrup.
That's disgusting.
There's no need to talk about the maple syrup today. I solved the problem. I found it all. It was at Mariano's.
Maple syrup is also having issues as Canada is now tapping into their reserves of maple syrup. So make sure you go get your organic maple syrup from the store now before the prices get jacked up.
Vermont had a bad year too.
I'm sure.
They're not.
Plus
They're not worried about it though.
I don't think they should be.
No, I watched an entire 10-minute interview with a bunch of maple syrup people.
So I think it was funny that America is tapping into its oil reserves and Canada's tapping into its maple syrup reserves. That was my one bright spot this week.
Hashtag first world problems.
Yeah, that was my one bright spot in terms of the news.
Oh, can I go back to it for 1 second
Sure.
to you talking or not bringing up touchy subjects at family dinners. I was speaking, and we brought up Crystal and Saga earlier.
Yeah.
I love listening to them. I think that they're very down to earth, and I think that they explain politics in a very easy to understand way for a lay person like myself. And
I wouldn't call you a lay person. Continue.
Joke's on you. I've been laid
At least 3 times.
only 3 times. That's it. But they brought it. They did a whole segment before Thanksgiving about not talking politics at the Thanksgiving dinner table. And I just said, that's exactly the opposite of what Brian and I say. You should be having those conversations and practicing having them in a positive way. If you ever need to learn how to have those conversations in a very positive way, Brian and I have an episode on that. You should go back and listen to it. I think we have 2 episodes on that.
Yeah, we did one really early on, right around the 2016 or the 2020 election.
Yes.
And then we did again more recently in the last couple months.
They're very informative.
I think so. The thing is with these types of conversations, the reason they become so difficult is because they aren't being had often. They feel much more high stakes.
Yeah. If you just have them more often, you can you're practicing.
Right. If you took the ACT 18 times,
The
it
18th
doesn't
time.
It won't the 18 17 16 17 and 18th time, those won't bug you.
Yeah.
Right? That's
Right.
that's why one of the strategies to doing well on the ACT was to actually just take it multiple times.
Right.
You'll
Yeah.
feel more comfortable. If you take it once, you're going to have all that anxiety coming forward. Now, if you have these conversations, even with the same people over and over, you're
Right.
not going to feel as anxious. And also, they won't feel as anxious.
Certainly.
That's
Like,
another
okay.
key component, is if you're having the conversation with more people and they're having the conversation with more people, there will be less anxiety within that conversation, and therefore it will be more productive.
Yeah. Brian and I knocked it out of the, we knocked that out right away. First conversation we had.
Kevin, how do you make an old fashioned? I don't know. Do you know the Second Amendment? I don't like it. Well, let's talk about it.
I never said that.
I said that.
Oh. Yeah.
You said, do you know about the Second Amendment?
Yeah.
You were just trying to flex your biceps. I thought you were talking Constitution. Anyways,
That's a joke I've made before. That might be accurate.
so another thing that happened, and I think, did I talk about it on the podcast or was that during the YouTube?
What?
About my conversation with my wife. I think that was just during the YouTube.
No, that was on here.
Okay.
Yeah, because you were talking about
Well,
sitting
let
in
me
the
go
kitchen.
back to that. Yeah, we're standing in the kitchen. We're having that conversation that I talked about earlier. And I think it's really important, and this is what got me wound up. My wife is, very, very, well-spoken, an intelligent woman, strong, independent, and all that.
Yeah.
And she didn't know what was going on. She's like, well, how does this happen? How is Roe v. Wade? Like, this is already been decided. How is it getting to the Supreme Court again? So I talked to her about the Mississippi, Texas, the Mississippi and Texas abortion bans that are in the works. And essentially, there are 26 states already that have similar legislation either already approved or on the docket ready to be heard, where this will likely get passed. So if they overturn Roe v. Wade, all of these different abortion laws are going to be put in place. And so for me, this is a very frustrating thing for a multitude of reasons. A, I think it's unconstitutional to reverse Roe v. Wade. But B, 5 out of the 9 Supreme Court justices who are appointed for life were picked by presidents that did not win the popular vote. And that has that really strikes a chord with me, is the fact that the majority of the people had not spoken, and these presidents got to choose these Supreme Court justices for life. George Bush chose 2. Donald Trump, that was a Freudian slip. Donald Trump put in 3. Gorsuch, Amy Coney Barrett, and Kavanaugh. And also, during Kavanaugh's spectacle of an appointment, he also talked about how he would not likely overturn settled law.
Right.
And then today, all he did was talk about how laws that were settled sometimes needed to be overturned. Talking about Miranda v. Arizona, which was, your Miranda rights, your right to remain silent, have to be,
right.
Those rights have to be read to you.
Yep.
Because there was a man named, I think it was Ernesto Miranda in the state of Arizona,
Accurate.
who did not realize he was basically turning himself in for a crime that he didn't commit, and all of his words were used against him, and he had no idea that that's how it worked. So you now need to be made aware of those rights. He talked about Brown v. Board of Education, which overturned Plessy versus Ferguson, which said separate but equal. And in Brown v. Board, they said separate but equal is inherently
not
unequal.
equal.
So therefore, it can't exist. So Kavanaugh is looking to overturn, and he's citing some of the most incredible court cases that helped progress our country. These court cases gave people rights, and he's using those as a way to challenge settled law to repeal rights. Now, whether or not you agree with abortion, that's up to you. I know some people have certain religious beliefs. Some people have certain moralities, whatever the case is. I personally am very thankful that my wife did not want to have an abortion. But I will be very clear with you. And I didn't ask her. I probably should talk to her about this. But before we had my daughter, our daughter, I said, "Are you you are good with having this baby?" It was her choice. When we found out that she was pregnant, it was her choice, not mine. And she said, "Well, yeah, don't you?" I said, "Well, hell yeah." I was all excited. But I value choice that much. All right? So me personally, I would never want to do that. And I know people that have. And some had to do it for medical reasons. Some had to do it for economic reasons. Whatever the case was. But that was their right to choose. And I stand by that. A woman in her medical professional, her doctor, whomever, nurse practitioner, whomever they are seeing, should have that right to make the best decision for themselves. And we're getting to a point where people might not have that right. Whether they turn it over to the states to decide, and 26 states come out with legislation that will impair a woman's ability to have autonomy over her body, or if they overturn it altogether. I don't know. But something is going to happen. It is not going to remain the same over the next few weeks. I'm hopeful that they don't overturn it. I know Gorsuch was more in favor of overturning it altogether and also taking some of the privacy rights away, medical privacy rights away beyond abortion. I hope that's not the case. But here's the thing.
What is the thing?
If this matters to you, if that is something that is important to you, one way or another, whether you completely disagree with me or not. And you are entitled to that opinion. This is an opinion. We can just talk. And I would love to talk with someone that absolutely disagrees with me. And that's okay. I have family that does. And we have very civil conversations. But you need to be educated about what's going on. And the moment you stop caring about these types of things is the moment that the people that do will get their way. So if you disagree with me, make sure you're educated, because I'm going to fight. I'm going to continue to talk about these things.
You're going to fight like hell?
I'm going to fight like hell.
You see what I did there?
Yeah.
Now if there's a riot at our podcast thing, we're
Yeah,
liable.
That's fine. Just because of our podcast.
Speaking of babies, I told Anna that you're going to be in the delivery room with us, podcasting gear and all. She's like, we can't do that. I was like, yeah, we can totally do that. She's like, no. She's like, there's only one guest allowed, and that's you. And I was like, well, Brian's your doula.
I will go to get certified.
Do you have to be certified to be a doula?
I don't know. I figured it was like a...
Nah, dude, I'll give you a fucking piece of paper.
Wedding, yeah, I thought it was like a wedding officiant where you can
yeah.
get certified online in 15 minutes.
Yeah, the churchofgodandshit.com.
Yeah, sunshine and rainbows or whatever.
.com.
Yeah.
/org.
Yeah.
/Jesus.
.edu.
.edu. No, it's .god, dude.
Oh, .god.
I think it's like Life Ministries. You can do it in like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom did it. She's married all of her children that are married.
Really? I know she did yours.
Yeah, she did. Oh, she didn't do Jenna's. Jenna, you dirty little thing, you. Jenna called my mom. She's like, hey, Sean and I both had the day off. We're married now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, literally.
That's badass.
Yeah. And then I jokingly always said, like, next time we get a call, they both had the day off. We're going to find out they're having a kid. And then sure enough, they have a baby now. They must have had a day off 9 months prior. Little levity there.
Yeah.
Yeah, abortion's a really tough thing to talk about, man. And my views on abortion have changed periodically throughout time.
I'm sure it has for a lot of people.
Yeah. I would never even consider something like that now unless it had something to do with honest health.
Which
I'd be like, honey, listen.
in Mississippi,
I was like, listen, honey.
she wouldn't be able to.
You took it. Now you got to have it.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. She still blames me for this pregnancy.
I mean, she consented, so. She knew what she was
she's going to hate that I'm saying this right now. Love you.
But I do agree. I think people's opinion changes, and I think we welcome that change.
Yeah.
My big problem is that this was settled. There's another court case in the 90s where it was upheld, basically talking about viability.
Yeah.
Right? So Roe v. Wade said 24 weeks because before 24 weeks is a fetus will not survive on its own anyways.
Yeah.
So it's not truly, guaranteed these liberties, right? Because it can't survive on its own.
Yeah.
Now, the Mississippi law is trying to repeal that to 15 weeks. And it does not make amends for medical purposes, rape, incest, or anything like that. And that's one of the issues.
That's messed up, yeah.
There is one abortion clinic in the state of Mississippi, and it was the state that got to bring this to the Supreme Court. It's like Joe Manchin fighting for billionaires when there's not a single one in the whole fucking state of West Virginia. Like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
And this is what I'm trying to talk about. When I was getting fired up, I was also getting fired up about the shooting in Michigan. Here we are again. Another shooting. Another instance, legally bought gun, carelessly, kept. 4 days later, it's used in a school shooting. All of that stuff. They're charging a 15-year-old as an adult. And I'll say something that's kind of a hot take. I don't think he should be charged as an adult. He's 15 years old, and he's obviously mentally unwell. He's going to be charged as an adult. He's probably going to lose that court case. He's going to go to jail for life. And what does that do?
Nothing.
Nothing. And all that people are going to do is sit on their hands. The Democrats are going to go out there and, oh, we need the gun reform. And what are you fucking presenting? And the Republicans are going to say, no, we can't have gun reform because that's going to offend our base. And the NRA is going to say, out of my cold, dead hands. And it's because people aren't voting.
And Kevin's going to say, it's people like you that make good gun owners look bad.
Here's the thing, and I've said this on our gun episode, was gun owners, good gun owners, need to become advocates for gun reform. If you want to maintain this right, we cannot continue to have so much senseless death. That's the thing. We cannot have people dying, 15-year-olds going to school. You know, when I was a teacher at a high school, it was very, very difficult to practice shooter in the building drills. And it wasn't difficult in my classroom in the sense that, like, my students took it seriously. And I think at least one time I talked to my students and I assured them that with 100% certainty, I would die before any one of them did. It was my responsibility as a teacher to protect my students. And I took that very seriously. And I would have a talk with them. Usually I'd get a little bit emotional. I am now thinking of it. And then I started teaching at a middle school. And I was never more sure of that position than I was when I had 6th graders in my classroom. Trying to explain to them that sometimes people do very, very bad things. And we have to be prepared for that. And exactly what we need to do and how we need to do it. And I think back to my middle school days. We didn't have shooter drills. We didn't have that. You know what?
You didn't?
No.
I did.
Well, yeah, you were. I was out of middle school right around Columbine. I was finishing up middle school.
Yeah, we had him in middle school.
Yeah, you're 2 years younger than me.
We had him in high school.
High school, we started to.
Yeah. Went to high school now.
But the idea that we have shooter in the building drills at schools is very alarming. The fact that we're okay with that is alarming to me. This does not happen anywhere else in the world. Nowhere else in the world does this kind of gun violence happen. And certainly not in schools. And when I see people posting, we should have metal detectors in all schools and armed policemen in all schools. What are we doing? What are we doing?
What are you doing?
I'm just at a complete loss. Like, we just take no accountability. We don't look around the world and say, well, what are they doing? Why are they not having these issues? Now, I'm not saying we need to get rid of all guns. There are countries all around the world that allow for gun ownership and don't have these issues. They are very, very strict in their gun ownership. They are very protective of gun ownership. They make sure that if you're going to own a gun, it's for the right reasons, and you have to pass background checks and all these different licensures and training classes and all of these different things. We look at people going bankrupt from having to go to the hospital. And we say, no, we can never afford it. Meanwhile, both Republicans and Democrats just passed a $770 billion spending bill on military spending? If you ever want to find Republicans and Democrats shaking hands on something, just look at any time military spending is brought up. You'll find plenty of them shaking hands and smacking each other on the back saying, hey, great job, we got this done.
I thought you were going to say smacking each other on the butt.
Oh, no, I want to smack them in the fucking face.
Brian.
It's unacceptable. I already understand by doing this podcast, I'm never going to get to run for public office because I'm just way too critical of these assholes. But it all comes down to this, Kev. It all comes down to, do you care?
Me?
Not you. I know you care. You do it. You give 100% effort all the time on this podcast. You come in, you're well researched, you're well versed, and you're thoughtful. I know you care. And I know the people sitting here listening to a political podcast from either people that they've known their whole lives or met through friends, or maybe happen to stumble across this but actually keep listening because they care. But we have to do a better job as a community, as the Mad Libs podcast community. We all have to do a better job of continuing to have the conversation and get people involved. Because what's happening right now in America is it's unacceptable. And it's not just Republican or Democrat. I think there's a lot of fault on the Republicans, I'll be honest. But if I'm going to be if I'm sitting here and dismissing all of the wrongdoings of the Democrats, I'm being irresponsible as well. I'm not going to let that happen. I want to hold everyone accountable because, damn it, I said to my wife, Kevin, tonight when I was sitting in the kitchen and talking about this, I was like, I don't want to live here.
I do.
I know you do. But I don't want my daughter. I think about these things. I don't want my daughter to live in a country that disgraces women the way it does, or doesn't protect high school children because I got to have my guns.
Watch it there, Brian. There are Southern people that handle their guns well.
There are a lot of them.
I know.
A lot of them. But we're not doing our job as human beings, as parents, as community members. And I look around the rest of the world, and we talk about how we're the greatest country. But I heard a funny statement. We're a third world country with a Gucci belt. We're just really rich.
I don't think that's the case.
Really?
I think that it goes to the old adage, and I've probably said this on the podcast before, and that is hard times create tough men. And I'm saying men because this is the quote.
That's the adage.
Yeah. Hard times create tough men. Tough men create easy times. Easy times create weak men. And then I think that's the issue that we have. I think that we've had some good times here in the U.S. Maybe not like, you know what I mean? Obviously, I'm talking about in general as far as like, not that we.
When have the millennials had an easy time?
What do you mean? One of the millennials had an easy time?
Yeah.
I think the hardest thing that faces millennials is student debt.
No. 9/11.
Oh,
so
okay,
in our formative years, we had the housing crisis. We've had the boomers run our economy into the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Student loan debt that is predatory. I took a picture today, actually, because I was just like, there's no, like, how does this happen? Someone was looking at their balance. Their original loan amount was $72,879.98. The total amount that they have already paid over the length of their loan was $96,776.01. The remaining balance was $168,000.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
That's really fucked up. So while I appreciate that, I think that was very applicable to the greatest generation of the World War II veterans. Tough times made tough people and good times after, I don't know. But I'm telling you what, the millennial generation, the Gen Xers and the millennials and everything, we haven't had it easy.
We've had it hard in different ways.
In what way have we had it easy?
We have technology.
Yeah.
I think,
and look at the issues with technology.
There's a lot of issues with technology. Let me just say something here.
Look at Mark Zuckerberg.
I'm turning the tables here.
Sure.
Okay. I don't want you to. This This is like Family Guy. Why are you bringing me down, Brian?
I'm not bringing anyone down.
You're absolutely right, okay? But you can't see it as, maybe this is part of the issue. You can't see it as like, oh my gosh, we've had it so hard.
No, I don't.
This is like me at Mariano's. I fixed 2 fucking problems while I was at Mariano's. I found all the maple syrup, and I was going to steal something off of somebody's car to fix your car, Brian. I wasn't really going to. It's a joke. Brian was missing this cute little piece of white trim that goes around his beautiful car right above the front or passenger side fender. And I was like, Brian, I'm going to fucking steal that shit for you, dog. I would never steal anything from a car.
Luckily we already had it replaced because I do think you would have stolen it.
I would not have stolen it, dude. You would I would think about it, and then really I would just go out and buy the part for you and pay the whatever $1,000 to have it painted and bring it to you. Like, I stole it, I swear to God.
You know how much it ended up costing? Because it was quoted as being like $400 something.
I'm gonna say it ended up costing you $273.
No.
$490.
Best price it could be.
$100.
No.
$69.
No. Yes.
Nuh-uh.
It was $69.
Fuck yeah.
I shit you not.
See, I told you.
No, so let me go back. When I said I don't even know if I want to live here anymore.
Okay.
I don't want to live in a country that is okay with where it is. That's what it is.
I can agree with that.
I want people to continue pushing for progress. Whether it's climate change, whether it's healthcare, whether it's education, whether it's prison reform, gun control reform, protecting human rights and civil liberties, whatever the case is.
It's time for everybody to do their civic duty. It's time for everybody. I think everybody knows deep down that the country's not where it should be.
100%.
I think that maybe it's that they don't realize the potential, or they're like patriotic for all the wrong reasons. Regardless,
I don't think they recognize their potential.
Yeah,
their impact.
That's true too. But what I'm trying to get at here.
Yeah.
See how I changed that up? I didn't say. So what I'm trying to say is, nailed it. Progress.
Nailed
Boom.
it.
See
Progress.
that's progress, bitch.
Yeah. But then you just swore.
Don't care. One thing at a time, Brian. Baby steps. Haven't you seen What About Bob?
Yeah. What about Bob?
Baby steps.
Baby steps.
Baby steps. Baby steps. What about Bob when he's eating?
I know what you're doing.
Okay.
I'm just waiting for you to continue finishing your thought.
It's gonna take a while, kid. I'm trying to give you a cool down. This is like your timeout. I'm putting you in a timeout. Because I hate seeing you so upset.
I'm not upset.
But you're right.
I'm riled
Brian,
up. I'm riled up.
Whatever.
I'm motivated. I want
tomato.
I want to see change. I want people to be the change.
You look at all this terrible stuff, but then you look at this. If you're watching YouTube, you'll know what I'm looking at. Look at how great this is. We made whiskey. And now, although we stole the idea from the Scottish people and the Irish people, we've made something that is our own. That's kind of like the American society. We've taken a lot of pieces from a lot of other places that we liked, and we brought it here. We used to be a melting pot.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're like a Chinese factory just churning out the same bullshit and not trying to make it any better. Not that China doesn't make anything better. That's not what I'm trying to get at. This is not a dig on China. I was just trying to think of like the most like, what do they do? Well, we just fucking
by the way,
we make what's up?
Not to I know you
No, go ahead, China.
I know you are frustrated with China in general.
Yeah.
Their president or chairman pledged 1 billion vaccines for Africa
Oh yeah, we're going to talk about how pissed off I was about that too.
Why would you be pissed about that?
Not that. No. That's awesome. That's not what I'm.
I was like, well,
I'm pissed about
thing.
I'm pissed about vaccines. I'm pissed at Moderna. I'm pissed at Pfizer.
Why?
Because, dude, they should be fucking giving. We should be giving that shit.
Oh
away.
yes,
we should be giving that shit away.
But
you
American capitalism.
No, that's American greed.
Yeah.
Capitalism is not greed.
Greed is good.
Greed is the terrible thing associated with capitalism.
Good.
Now I can't even finish my thought, Brian. I was talking about whiskey, and then I was talking about it's kind of like
Now we're churning things out like China.
Yeah, now we're churning things out like China. Like
We've
a
become
Chinese
very.
factory. Apparently, China's churning out vaccines to give to Africa, which we should have been doing since the very beginning. Thanks a lot, Biden. Do something. Jesus Christ. So here's the problem.
Yeah.
Now we're just doing the same thing. We're a little hamster.
We're homogenized.
We're a hamster hitting the button, getting the fucking food, and being satisfied with what we have. You can't be satisfied with what you have. Brian and I were happy in our lives. We still took on the task of doing a podcast and doing all the research because it, first of all, it helps me to learn. Brian does this shit regardless. Brian will fucking talk through a microphone into a mirror. The microphone's not even plugged in or anything. He'll just fucking stand there and he'll stare there. He'll fucking wink at himself. He will wink at himself and he'll smile. And he'll be his number one listener. You know what I mean? Because Brian loves politics.
You make me sound so conceited in that, and it's so accurate. You have no fucking clue how accurate that is because I've done that.
It's not a conceited thing. It shows your passion for politics. That's where I wasn't going with conceited.
You said I would be winking in the mirror at myself talking politics.
Yeah, because you're so excited. You're like, Roe v. Wade. I'm winking right now. For
they
those
could
who are just
hear
listening.
you wink. You somehow made the winking noise and it came through your mouth into the microphone.
It's a Shure SM7B. But we decided to do this podcast anyways. We wanted to progress things. We wanted to learn. We wanted to see, where it would take us. And it's led us to this beautiful fucking place, a year and a half later.
With you, the listener.
I thought you went with me. I was like, oh, Brian, that's real sweet, dog. Thanks, man. But really, you're like, fuck you, Kev.
No, I care about the community.
I knew that. It's just frustrating. This country can be so much better than it is. And it's great. It is. We have a lot of room to grow. What bothers me is we already have all that we need to make it better.
Yeah. It's there.
And we've just got a bunch of fucking rich people getting richer and not trying to do anything about it. I look at South Africa. They're trying to reverse engineer the Moderna, I believe.
Good.
Vaccine so that they can give it out to other people. This reminds me of the movie The Day After Tomorrow.
Okay. In
the very end, who helps out America? It's Mexico. Mexico lets them all in. I see I was going to bring up Elon Musk. Actually,
yeah.
I was going to say
he's going to go bankrupt.
He's not going to go.
SpaceX is.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I guess there's a leaked email where he was saying, of course, the government will bail him out.
Well, they need him.
I don't need him.
If we want any American flights going into fucking outer space, we need them. We gave that shit. That's another thing that pisses me off. Why aren't we funding NASA?
Because we're busy spending $770+ billion on the military-industrial complex.
Yeah, dude, give it to NASA. They'll build you a fucking warship.
Well, that was also another thing.
They'll build me the Death Star. I never
part of SpaceX part of SpaceX was that it was going to help develop rocket missiles, like long-range ballistic missiles that would be more effective, more accurate, all that shit.
Did you? I know you don't like Elon Musk, but
no, I don't.
I do. I saw a really, really funny quote from him. He's definitely a socially awkward individual, but he's got
some good quotes.
Well, no, it was just a funny story. He was talking about when he first started SpaceX and how weird it was to go to Russia, whenever it was that he went over there, looking to buy their best ICBMs, their best intercontinental ballistic missiles, and then saying, but you can keep the nuclear warhead part. I just want the rocket. I can't imagine having that conversation. Because they were trying to learn about the propulsion. Anyway,
he's worth $300 billion. That's wrong. But
it's probably why I haven't gotten rich yet. I would just give most of it away, but I would put it towards the right.
No, I 100% agree, and that's why I'm listen. I understand people want to win capitalism. Good, you won. You hit $1 billion. But there needs to be an end. You can only score so many points in Pac-Man. You can only run Super Mario Brothers so fast.
You know what happens when you beat Pac-Man?
What?
They didn't actually design the last level. It glitches out.
What's
Fun
the?
fact.
Isn't it like 256 something?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But like they made it so progressively hard to do it.
The maximum score. Oh, you go through 256 screens and eating every single dot, every single blinking Energizer blob, every flashing blue ghost, every point-loaded fruit without losing a single life. The top score is 3,333,360 points.
That's dope.
Now, that should be the high score. Add a few more zeros at the end. You can make $3,333,360,000 in America, and then it all goes back into the system. Pac-Man.
Oh my God, we're gonna run on the Pac-Man policy.
The Pac-Man policy.
I'm down. I like it.
I don't think anyone listening or any normal human being would be like, yeah, no, $3 billion isn't fair.
How much do you need to not work the rest of your life? It's like you need
Probably, well, it depends. I mean,
no, it's like invested. Like it's
Yeah.
isn't it like $1 million if you threw $1 million into an index fund.
well, so you got to be wary of that because it can fluctuate between 7 to 10%, and like,
Right.
yeah,
But even what's 7% of $1 million? Isn't that $70,000?
yeah.
I mean, that's not bad.
No,
I would be
it's
happy
very
with
good.
$70,000 the
Right,
rest of my life.
right.
But whatever.
Right, but the problem is if it doesn't, like, if there's a 2008, you don't make $70,000 that year, and then
Sure.
you make 140 the next year or whatever, and it bounces back. But that's the problem. But yeah, I would say if you had $3 million in an index fund, you would be okay for the rest of your life.
Yeah. I'm not close to that yet, but I'm getting there.
Yeah,
I'm getting there.
yeah. I had 7 years towards a pension, but I had to cash that out, so I'm behind where I should be.
I was going to make a joke there, but it was tasteless.
I'm behind where I should be.
Yeah.
My wife's inside.
Thank you. You complete me.
You complete me.
Oh my
Or
gosh.
mini me. Come here. You complete me.
Yeah. It's already been an hour and 10 minutes, Brian.
Yeah, man. I guess we should call it there. You know, when I say at the end of every episode, I say do good, be great. And that really means something to me is like do good for people, right? Like do good things for people and be great at that. And I think if people actually lived by that, you know, thought about other people, not only, it doesn't always have to be before yourself, but usually a lot of people think about me, myself, and I, right?
Yeah.
If you just think
The
about
G-
yourself
the-
a little bit and
the
then
Jeezy
others, like, man, this world would be a much better place than certainly this country. So
Yeah.
do good, be great.
And go listen to the Killers Christmas album. It'll make you feel better after this shit.
I really do love you, and please continue to spread the love.
Love you guys so much. Thanks for listening. We appreciate you, and we will see you on the next one. Not if they see me first. I have to pee, but we can keep the YouTube going for a minute.
let's end it.
Okay. You gotta go throw up in the bushes again?
No.
The last time you've ended a YouTube that quick, it was because of Fireball milk and hot sauce.
Oh, God. Yeah.
All right, we love YouTube. Thank you guys so much for viewing.